is fascinating, and
Yeah.
it's always right. Like especially when you're about mentorship, people shouldn't forget that it's also both ways.
So, let's talk about your role model. So you have years of experience, professional experience. Have you had any role models that you can share with our audience?
I had a few. I had one in particular, my team leader Chris, when I was at ASML. He was he taught me how to be a good engineer. Let's put it this way, right? But in such a casual way, right? It was always about like the project we're on, look into the details, and just like don't get overwhelmed by the details, right? He had like that thing, and I'm sure like other engineers have heard of that, where you need a requirement, but you don't know how to characterize it yet. Right? We can afford to get the project moving for the next, let's say, maybe a month without knowing it, right? But let's not lose it. And that's the kind of thing that's right, like to me important now at a larger scale, because that's how you develop the expertise, that's how you develop like the value, right, for all the manufacturers that are here. That's what you sell the expertise, and developing it takes that like process, that demeanor of not being overwhelmed, looking at the problem, going through it, right? And that's an amazing that's an amazing set of skill that I'm super grateful Chris taught me early in my career. And I probably, like, if you ask him today, he's going to be like, I didn't teach that to Phil, because he did it in such in a casual way that it was natural. Right.
Yeah,
So
it is
yeah.
actually fascinating. I mean, during our career journey, we
Mhm.
meet with different professionals, senior than us or our peers, and so on. And it's amazing to see like how they are touching your life,
Yes.
by knowing or not knowingly, that because you are working together and you learn, and they
Yep.
open certain doors to you because of the knowledge that you get from them. That is
Yes.
fascinating, and I'm glad that you share that.
It is fascinating, and
Yeah.
it's always right. Like especially when you're about mentorship, people shouldn't forget that it's also both ways, right? The person that receives it needs to be open to it. That to me, like if there is what that's one big piece of advice I'd like to give to people who are like early career and getting into it, right? And again, has nothing to do with manufacturing in particular, right? Like whatever career path you take,